Okay, so thank you so much for taking the time to come out here to answer these questions. We're gonna start with question 1. Would you support rehabbing, expanding, or better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts? Yes or no?
Thank you for having me here first, but yes, so revitalizing the storefront is actually something that's an important issue that I think we should be looking into, because right now in downtown, I feel like it's falling and failing.
Yeah.
So I definitely do agree with revitalizing in downtown, those storefronts, as well as vacant buildings throughout the city, to because we have a homelessness problem as well, and we can use those vacant buildings to help build more affordable housing, or work with existing partnerships like CBA to help with more homes for the homelessness and people who are in housing insecure.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you. Number 2, is our Main Street downtown healthy and successful? Yes or no? If not, what would you do to change that?
So you're asking me if Main Street is healthy and successful?
Yep.
I would say that it's no. I wouldn't say it's healthy and successful. You talk about a lot of the different issues that are going on downtown regarding smell, trash, cleanup, things like that. That creates a health problem. Safety. A lot of people are using more drugs since out of the pandemic. We were working on bringing down our opioid epidemic numbers over the last 5 years, and then coronavirus really flipped the script on that. And so that the drug issue is coming back up again, and that's causing more of a safety issue downtown, because if someone's on serious drugs, they're unpredictable.
No.
So.
Thank you.
You.
Here's number 3. Would you vote in support of a motion allocating from a city budget or incarcerated people who are being released back into society?
Allocate funding for those who are being released back into society from the city budget? I would have to look into that question more. Give me a second. I think that's a tough question to answer. I think I just need more time to think on that.
That's okay. As UTEC, we value equality. We as organizers try to decrease racism and violence in the streets. How would you vote on a motion that says racism is a public health issue?
I would vote on that right now if I could, if I was on city council. Racism is a public health crisis. A lot of us think of racism as of someone just using a derogatory slur towards you. But racism is ingrained in every institution of this country and in a lot of other countries too. I was in the military. I'm still in the military. I still serve. And I see issues with racism within how people are. I work as a paralegal, so I work with the prosecution in my cases, and I see how people will get either convicted at higher rates. That black people will be getting, black and brown people have higher conviction rates than their white counterparts, as well as their sentences are usually longer as well. So you can go into health and you can talk about why do black women die at 4 times higher rate from having childbirth. So when you have people of color throughout the system that reflect your background, it's more healthier, because they know what the struggles are going through their community, but also they might also be able to see the things that you can't see. So it's important to pull everything together. But racism is a public health crisis. It is dangerous to the city, and we need to make sure that we tackle that issue.
Thank you.
Yes.
Number 5, do you support having our own version of the Carriol's Law? If you don't know what that law is, I can explain it to you.
If you could, please.
So Carriol's Law, Buffalo Police Officer Carriol Horn. A series of laws that make it a crime for a law enforcement officer to fail to intervene when another officer is using excessive force, and also protects whistleblowers. Included in Carriol's Law was a provision, retroactive protection for officers, which allows an officer found to have been terminated for reporting the objectively unreasonable use of force against a civilian or intervening to stop the use of objectively unreasonable force by a fellow officer within the 20-year period preceding, the adoption of the law, to have that finding reviewed by a court.
What was that last sentence? I'm sorry. You said 20-year what?
Objectively unreasonable force by a fellow officer within the 20-year period preceding the adoption of the law, to have that finding reviewed by a court.
So the first portion was talking about making it a crime.
Right.
For that. So it's very important for police accountability, and to go as far as saying it would be a crime for you not to report, I think you have to get the verbiage perfect on that, so that you wouldn't unduly, if someone's in a situation and they weren't sure, like it could have been borderline, I don't want to lock someone in that situation, but I think there's a way to do that, which you're talking, without, there's a way to get that done. And I would say that crime, right up front, no, I can't get there, but I think with more discussion on how that law works, I think there's a way that they can draft that legislation to be a little bit more better. Maybe to focus on the fact of if there was excessive force used in your presence, like, hey, this guy's like reasonable, it's excessive force, punching, discharging your guns. Yes, everybody in the scene around should be fired immediately, like what you saw with George Floyd. So that I do agree with. If it's in a situation like that, or even such as an assault by a police officer that was unwarranted, yes. But as you're going lower down, I think it's going to get kind of harder to see where that line is. So maybe an aggravated battery charge for that or something like that. But
thank you.
You're welcome.
So this was the end of our questions so far. Thank you again for being here and answering these questions with us.
All right.